Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. Got Tazzy up here beside me. We're rolling through. It's going to be interesting topics tonight. We're going to be talking about dimensions down under, beyond the outback, psychedelics, and the history of psychedelics in Australia. A few bits and pieces. We're going to dive into cultural practices and traditions and whatnot. Not exactly what they do, because a lot of that is still kept secret within the tribes and whatnot. So we'll dive into a little bit of it. Some of the stuff they use in their mixes, what plants they use, and different medicines and sorts. So kick back, enjoy the ride. Tazzy, introduce yourself. Say good day, brother.
G'day, good evening, everybody. Hit that like button. I'm Terence McKenna Down Under, aka Oz Hashman, and I'm here tonight just to chat about psychedelics and what they've done in my life and how impactful they can be towards you. Psychedelics have a lot to offer, cannabis included. I'm not on the medical mushrooms. I'd love to be on the medical mushrooms, but I'm a mushroom forager. I don't know what else to say other than that. I won't talk about any weed. I'm not going to talk about my growing or anything. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. What else should I say? I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, it's cool. This is going to be an interesting stream. I can't guarantee it'll be perfect. It's the first time we've done something like this before, so
yeah,
give it a crack and see where it winds up.
It's going to be good. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Should we touch on mushrooms a little bit first? What do you reckon?
Yeah, for sure.
I think mushrooms are a pretty hot topic at the moment today in Australia. So,
do you want to talk about the first time you've ever done mushrooms, or do you want to talk about what about something else about mushrooms? Because there's many different ways you can kick off this topic.
Well, let's start off with the legal status of psilocybin.
With some science and some legal. That's what I was going to say. No, you're right.
We'll start off with the legal status of psilocybin mushrooms. Now, the legal status of psilocybin mushrooms got changed back on the 1st of July, 2023. Right. From then, psychotherapists and whatnot, they're allowed to prescribe and administer and do sessions with people. Now, initially, the cost of those sessions were upwards of $20,000, which was pretty ridiculous. As not being part of the pharmaceutical benefit scheme, we got another guest backstage. Hang tight.
Yes.
See that? What up, brother?
Yeah.
Good to have you.
It's good to see you.
Introduce yourself real quick.
Sure. You know who I am. I'm the guy that takes too many mushrooms and tells you about it. C97.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, bro. Welcome. But yeah, so the legal status of mushrooms is we're still in a pretty interesting spot because there's not many psychotherapists, psychologists, or any psychiatrists that have the training to administer these practices at all. So it's still relatively underground for the most part. There is people you can contact, reach out to, certain groups if you are looking to get into these practices and can't afford to go the medical route. But you have to be mindful. You got fake shamans or these other gurus and stuff that you got to be mindful of that just want to get your money. So look for genuine people if it's something you can start considering, or even for personal reasons yourself. Look at attaining some spores and doing micro grows to support yourself personally. Now, obviously, check your state's laws and regulations. This is not legal to do at home personally for any reasons unless you have the appropriate credentials and permits. So, with that being said, welcome to the stream, guys. It's good to be here.
Welcome, Seether. I do want to say this. I'm going to mute my mic in a second and let Seether talk, but I want to see in the future recreational decriminalized foraging for personal use up to an ounce of dried mushrooms and maybe fucking 150 fresh gram or some shit like that. Same what they've got in Canberra, 50 grams dry, 150 grams fresh, recreational foraging. You can be out in public with them. Doesn't matter. That's what it should be in my opinion, but fucking I don't have any other say. That's what I wish it would be in reality. Not legal to buy, but recreational to forage or, with in some capacity. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say for now. Long on.
For sure. What do you reckon with that, Seether?
I want to be able to agree with you there, Tazzy. I really do. But the amount of damage we see from misinformed forages, it would do so much damage to our native forest. Not even our sub-Aboriginal populations, but our orchid populations and our native, our dams and our riverways. The damage that would be done it'd be pretty vast. So I think maybe just legalize the consumption because we already have a fantastic way to medicate people, and that's cultivated.
Do you reckon legalise the consumption, but if you're caught with something like a bootload commercial amount for trafficking, you should cop that charge? What's your take?
Nah. I think it should just be decriminalised, like fucking morality.
How about this, Seaver?
We have to do what we want, but that's not an ideal world, is it?
Imagine the government or someone allows the ability, like you can buy mushrooms, but you can also forage them. Do you reckon people would be less, because it's a hard job to fucking go forage mushrooms. You got to learn how to do it. You got to do the work. Do you reckon people be less, whatever the word would be, they're, less likely to do that? They'd rather just buy it if that was the option.
Especially like this year, for instance, there's been a massive drought across the southern states. So not been like a lot of mushrooms for a lot of people. So people are wanting to buy a lot more. And even when it's good, people don't want to drive 2.5 hours to go get mushrooms. So they're more than willing to just go to the local guy and get mushrooms. So there's obviously a market there for it. And like cannabis, it might not be as large as cannabis, obviously, but why not? Like, if the government likes putting their hand in the cookie jar, they should be putting their hand in this one too.
I want a cookie.
No, hell yeah. Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there was a raid. We had a raid in Australia, South Australia today, down south, and there was in Morphett Vale, I believe. Hang tight. Let's see if I can find the article.
And Edwardstown.
Yeah, so I'll go into it. So the article says traffic stop led police to an illicit hallucinogen mushroom farm in Adelaide. So alleged that police stopped a speeding vehicle, dumbass, at Morphett Vale at 7:15 p.m. yesterday. During a search of the vehicle, police allegedly uncovered 28 satchels containing cannabis, 102 capsules containing illicit mushroom powder, and a later search of an Edwardstown property address allegedly turned up 381 capsules containing controlled mushrooms, as well as 200 grams of dried mushrooms powdered, and 74 capsules containing cannabis. At a second address, police located the mushroom farm and evidence of cannabis oil butter production. That's scary. Another alleged 2,000 capsules containing controlled powder and about 3 kilograms of dried cannabis were also found. So the people that were arrested have been charged with trafficking a commercial quantity of the drug. They were bailed and will appear at court at a later date. Either way, that's insane. It's not that insane, to be honest, but it's
that is insane.
What led up to it, right? You know what I mean? If old mate was doing the right thing and he wasn't speeding, he wouldn't have got pulled over, and that's a whole domino effect that we've seen happen here, with multiple people being arrested and charged now, which is not good to see.
I want to say this, right? You got to give credit to the person, because I would say that's not a beginner. That's not a fucking someone who's a novice. That's someone who's given it their best go, and they've had a good go. They got 3 kilos of weed dry. Rest in peace to that weed.
I think it's actually the cops have done a decent job here, because this sounds like someone that's been funded by the black market, i.e. bikers.
Yeah, it sounds like organised crime a little bit.
And that's who they go for mainly, anyways.
Do you reckon in the future,
if you're a regular human being and you're not profiteering or in the proceeds of organised crime or funding that operation, for personal reasons, you can argue to a magistrate, look, motherfucker, right, the medications you have, sorry for my language, shouldn't be swearing like that.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, my bad, try and switch it up, be good.
Don't worry, it's all good.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to explain to a magistrate for personal reasons and justify your case in stating why you have these substances and why you're using them. Yeah. If I ever found myself in this position, I'd have to get a lawyer and argue exactly that. So, but I won't be in
a friend go through court for something very similar. He got caught manufacturing. They found trace elements of DMT and what remnants of a DMT lab looks like, which is just shell, right. But he got in trouble, and he said, "Look, I've never sold this stuff. I'm a gardener that got interested in these plants and decided to explore it for myself." And they essentially slapped him on the wrist with good behavior bond and some trash pickup duty. But they also tried to take his house. which was just a whole
That's
thing.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is scary because at the end of the day, like that's what they treat it like. They put these big hazard suits on for mushrooms and for that sort of stuff, when it's really not a hazardous product. But they treat it like methamphetamines.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that they're trained to deal with it. So I don't blame the police in this instance, but
I never think
blame the education.
I agree. If there's more education, then they would treat it a lot less hazardous. Because, like you said, they treat it with that same caution. But do you reckon? I don't think they'll ever do this for mushrooms. It'd be cool if they did. But you reckon they'll do an amnesty for cannabis? All the cannabis they get seized gets on the medical in some capacity, gets tested, and fucking given out for free. Come on, surely don't put it to waste.
That'd be interesting. That'd be pretty wild to see. But I think they make too much money off it in terms of revenue raising.
Oh.
They do use psilocybe species found at customs for sequencing and testing. They'll use it in like universities to help students learn how to do like chromatography and stuff like that. And that's actually how Gordo Tech found TTBVI, which is the now current strongest mushroom in the world.
Really?
6% on there. Like the students did a test on it, and it was like 6%. And it got to him. And he's like, "Where's this mushroom from?" And then he got one of his mates out, and his mate went and harvested a bunch of mushrooms from that local area. And he went and grew them all out, tested them all, found 2TBVI, and now it's the strongest cultivar in the world.
That's a cool origin story. That's the word I was searching for. Fuck, that's actually so cool.
Fucking A. I'm going to pull up some photos real quick, lads, of so far the largest mushroom farm bust we've had in Australia. Yeah, check this shit out.
I'd love to see it.
There was over 200 tubs found at this property in Queensland. Yeah, old mate's in a bit of trouble for these ones.
A little bit of trouble. Oh, yeah, no.
Just a bit. So here's the cool thing about this. I don't see any fresh air exchange. So he's set and forget by the looks of it.
100% set and forget. That's why he's only got 3 inches of substrate, because all of that room, all of that headroom is creating the perfect environment. He doesn't need anything. Yeah. Perfect.
So like that means there's no air holes on that at all, Tazzy. You just put the lid on, and when he comes back in 3-4 months, there'll be tubs full, bro, chock-a-block. That whole house would have been set up specifically for this. Yeah,
that's interesting. I would say this, right? In my opinion, right, you can have that and it could still be for personal use if you had a massive fascination with different, like if every tub was like a different strain and you had like, because I know there's people in northern hemisphere who are that, let's put it this way, they're that meticulous, they fucking, sorry for swearing, they vacuum seal different strains and they work onto different ones, and they I can't remember all the different names of these Instagram people that I know, but in Northern Hemisphere there's a lot of people that do that. They don't sell it, but when you see houses set up like this, obviously it might get sold because it costs a lot. Surely, how much would it cost to set up a room like that? That's my question to that.
No, bro. Honestly, probably about $1,000, if that. No, under $1,000, less.
But what do they get out of that grand that they spend? That's my question.
This is entirely up to the person and how good you are and how much you're willing to expand that grain. So you could potentially, that's probably like a $500,000 grain. Like realistically, looking at all the fruit and stuff like that. But that's not what most people make out of it. Like having that many tubs doesn't mean shit if they're bad genetics and they're not producing a lot. But he had quite a lot of dried mushrooms.
Yeah.
Well, so it was probably pretty high.
Not gonna lie, have a look at this lad here. This one here. I bet he's on the shroomies too, cuz look at that.
Oh, that's so funny.
Hey bro, he was the one that busted the operation. he worked his way in. He ate shroomies with the bro, and then he put on his uniform.
Hey, is smoking all good on the stream, brother?
Say again, bro?
Smoking all good on the stream, bro?
Let's have a bong, eh? Kick it off.
Yeah, that's what I asked in the backstage chat. Can I hit the vape? This is a medical cannabis vape. IndieMed. Oh shit, it's upside down. Go on.
This isn't medically approved, but this is my medical cannabis bong. For those that are wondering, that's
Medibong.
The Medibong.
Medibong Ignite.
Wait, there has to be. That'd be cool if we could bring bongs to Australia and they sold them in like the medical setting. You know what I mean?
Get them in chemist.
Imagine getting a bong at your chemist. Oh yeah. There's a scene at The Simpsons where Dr. Hibbert sells. Oh no, he doesn't sell. He offers Homer Simpson the wizard or the skull, and it was so fucking funny. And then the scene after it, he rolls a joint though, and then Marge comes upstairs and goes off. That's fucking classic. You don't play that on your stream, you'll get done. Bong on. Oh, you're both punching cones. Session. But ladies and gentlemen watching this stream, make sure you hit that like button and comment any questions you have about mushrooms. I love Seether's background because that's Psilocybe suberginosa, and that's one of my favourite species. There's a couple species that grow in Australia. A P. elutica, that's off wallaby poo. Probably mispronounced that one. There's
Kangaroo and wombat poo.
Kangaroo and wombat, that's it. That's rumoured to be grown heaps in Mount Field in Tasmania. Okay. So, yeah.
I heard it rumoured, Tassie. Now I can't find anything on this aside the conversation me and Seether had yesterday about it, but there's supposedly, I won't say where it is, but there's supposedly a mushroom that produces MDMA alkaloids.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. And
that's the party shroom right there.
It's not spoken about. The knowledge isn't shared out there, like within our area. Because the people that know about it, they understand what happens if that information gets released.
Holy shit.
Yeah, bro.
Holy shit. No. Yeah. Sorry to swear so much, but no.
This is a psychedelic stream, but I will say MDMA has been declassified as well.
I've never done MD ever.
A medical setting to help treat PTSD and depression. There was actually former police officer who was one of the first responders to the Port Arthur massacre in Tasmania. And he's actually been overseas to, I think, the United States now. And he's been over there to do multiple sessions with MDMA to get through his PTSD. So
shout out to him.
It's actually really good to see that people from that background, police force, they're like out of options. Traditional medicine isn't working. They've found something. Now there's a whole 60 Minutes news article you can go watch on it.
Yeah.
It's really good to people,
I do want to touch on this. If you ever come to Tasmania, right, and you live here for a little bit, and then you sit and think, fuck, how traumatic would it be to live through something like that? And it would be shit. Like, Tasmania is such a nice place, such a good, like, what it's let's put it this way. It's like, imagine a small town and then just like out of nowhere, something shit goes down. You go, oh, wow, that's fucked. Tasmania is such a small community.
It would have affected so many people as well because it was such a vast attack, and it was such a small town. Everybody in that town would have been affected. You would have felt the aftershock of it for months. It's tragic.
It's definitely sad, but we're getting a little off track, fellas. Come back. Come back.
Yeah, no, you're right. Let's go back.
Yeah, no. So you've never had MDMA before, Tassie? That's not been one of the things. No, never had it. Seether, you've had experience with it before?
I wish.
What was your experience with it? How did you find it? Like, without the recreational party side to it, what was the other side to it that you experienced on your own?
It was more like medication for me because I fucking just kind of said it simmered me down.
Right.
Yeah. Wasn't a big fan of MDMA.
Was it like pills or was it like MDMA?
No, it was cola.
What does that mean? Cola?
Dutch MDMA.
Dutch, yeah. Champagne.
There you go.
Champagne was probably bomb. Yeah. That was when I was a teenager. That was around, but we had another substance, psychedelic, actually, similar to MDMA. It mimics it. It's called Fuck.
What, MMA? No.
MMA, yeah. Yeah, I think
that's so funny.
MDMA.
Well, we know MDA is a precursor to MDMA.
MDA, that's the one. That's what they called that. So MDA, that was nicknamed Milo as well. That was one capsule, looked exactly the same as MDMA, but we didn't know the difference. And when me and my mates, we got it at the time, we just thought normal caps, you know what I mean? So we've like taken a couple caps each, and that's like a 6 to 8 hour ride, man. And it's full blown psychedelic.
Yeah.
So it lasts a lot longer. And here's the dangerous side to it. It's neurotoxic.
Yeah.
Right. So the longer you take it, right, the more at risk you are of getting sick or seriously doing something like irreversible to your receptors. And you don't want serotonin syndrome. It's not on anybody's bucket list the last time I checked. So take care of yourselves. Yeah. But that was a fascinating one. I've seen a lot of hieroglyphs specifically. They were patterns and shit. But I was at my mate's house. I had to ring a friend. She come pick me up. We went like 40 Ks back to her place, and she was partying, man. And I wasn't having a good time, so I'm like trying to move around this thing. And these guys were in states themselves. But either way, side the point. Interesting substance. Very interesting substance.
I'll give away a little bit. The same species actually has quite a few interesting, sort of stories. In Papua New Guinea, the same species, different subspecies, known as a blue standing bolete, if cooked incorrectly, has been known to give people Lilithian hallucinations, which is a very special subclass of hallucination where people see very small people. Even the Queen of Papua has been apparently has talked about this and accidentally have dosed on these boletes, because it's very common for them to eat bolete mushrooms there. And if they're undercooked, this unknown alkaloid is
what
present.
are the hallucinations called again, bro?
Lilithian.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. And that basically means hallucinations of small people.
That's cool. Is that so Latin translation?
Yeah.
How do I know that?
So you have little people running around. Most taxonomy is Latin.
Yeah. That's all right.
Taxonomy.
Can you pull up a photo of that mushroom, Julian, if possible?
The bolete species? I sure can. Let's have a start.
Blue standing bolete.
Do you remember the name?
Just type in blue red standing bolete, dude.
Thank you very much, Caesar, for that. That's cool. So that's in Papua New Guinea. I've had hash from Papua New Guinea.
It's also in New South Wales. It's actually also in New South Wales and in Queensland. But
where?
It's everywhere. It's pine plantations. It's just most people don't eat them. So we don't know about the actual alkaloids yet. It's something that needs to be researched further.
So if we eat it in New South Wales, we could potentially get different alkaloids than the one in Papua New Guinea.
It's from Papua New Guinea, you said?
Yeah, mate.
So I would rather go to Papua New Guinea for a trip, get some hash over there, get some small people. One of my friends got Papua New Guinea hash. Shout out to Harry the Hash Man. Far out. We got a pound of hash for Papua New Guinea.
Psychedelics either.
I'll get it for you, bro.
Pull it up.
But that was a few years ago. You got that. Shout out to Harry. See, there's you always remember the good times you had weed back in the day, that limited edition. Far out. Papua New Guinea gold.
So do these boletes would have made their way to Australia, part of the same landmass, eh? Because there used to be lines. We used to be able to walk to the different continents, apparently.
Yeah. Surely that was the case.
Yeah, I think so. I'm curious if, because the spores and whatnot, they carry through the wind and the water and fucking space and all that, so they say. I'm curious if
dropping some info backstage for you, Joe, mate. This is about the alkaloid raw. I'll chuck up a picture of the species now.
Sweet.
Oh, wait, I fucked up. That's not the whole link.
Yeah, site can't be reached.
There you go.
In the meantime, shout out to Banana Farmer. Shout out to Jeff Papalia. Shout out to, who else I want to shout out? Sunshine Rainbows, Mongrel Stoner, Baker Perkins, the Wild Bull Bar, a.k.a. Spud Lee. And then everyone else can get shout out as well. Shout out to Mick Wilson and Drop the Mic. There you go. You can shout out anyone else you want.
So this is the blue staining Boletus Speciose. I don't know.
It's saying that the substances, some of them are toxic. There's several reports of bioactive substance such as lectins, ribonucleases, and toxic proteins from the genus Speciosus. It's a rare hallucinogenic and can cause Lilliputian hallucinations when cooked,
which is little people,
or eaten too much. The stripe of the mushroom is yellow.
I've got pictures up for you.
After consumption. So it says it's from southwest China.
No, it's in Papua New Guinea as well, mate.
Yeah, right. So it is all around the world.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Around
so
the world.
It's not just native to. No, that answers it. All right. No, that's cool. All right. What do we got here?
Yeah, that's the species right there, mate.
Can you zoom in on that one?
Oh, no. Okay, so real quick, there's a fucking video on YouTube, and this bloke, he's showing everyone in New South Wales this pine forest, and he shows them that. Right? Bruh, that's the exact one he showed.
Yeah. Yeah, so I wouldn't be game enough to do it without having some charcoal on board, like having it nearby, but it's definitely something I might play with.
Yeah, fuck. You haven't even done amanitas yet, have you?
Yeah, I have.
Amanitas? So, yeah, that's another mushroom as well that we've got in Australia, but that's fly agaric. That's worldwide.
We'll chuck this off screen now, mate. But yeah. Interesting stuff.
Very interesting.
Wow.
One sec, guys. Hold it down.
Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, thank you very much, Seether, for bringing us that information. There's so much that you've said this evening already that I've gone, what the fuck? That's something new that I want to actually stick in and go, that's fucking pretty good information. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a super common. I've even seen it in South Australia, that bullet species, but I don't.
Speciosus.
Yeah, speciosus. I think it's endemic globally, honestly. But
well, if we do think
because it could be the saprotropic species, so they could be getting the alkaloids from the region species or even the rhizomic formations in the soil nearby. So it could be that these set alkaloids could just be from that area. We don't know. But there have been Lilliputian reports in Papua New Guinea from the Queen at Papua. So, we could something to play with.
Really cool.
So, I was going to say alkaloids pretty much distinguish medicinal Valium from gourmet Valium from value, because like there's like different types of mushrooms. You got edible for choice, edible like that you can choose. What's the other one? Gourmet, and then medicinal. So there's how many types?
Oh, heaps. well, there's like poisonous. Yeah, so there's harmful mushrooms. There's edible mushrooms or gourmet. There's nootropic, and then there's medicinal mushrooms, and then there's hallucinogenic mushrooms or recreational mushrooms. So 5. But I would say there's probably even another one, which is biome editing, which will edit your fucking stomach biome and stuff like that.
Oh shit! Yeah. Wow.
That's another story, probably for another day.
But wouldn't recreational mushrooms count as medicinal value? Just an overconsumption?
It depends, because some people do abuse mushrooms.
Yeah. Because you can medicinally be
a good thing. And then Amanita as well.
I don't know, man. I think mushroom can be a bit manipulative. Draws you in a little bit, and then the fucking...
Bro, the amount of times I've been sitting there thinking, I'm never fucking doing this again. This is poison. And then an hour later, I'm going, this is the best time of my life. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
Before, you know what I mean?
I was going to ask, I thought you were going to be going for a bee's dick longer, but Tassie, have you had any experiences this year with the lovely Suboriginosa that are behind me?
Unfortunately not, no.
No, that's all right. That's all right. It'll come. It'll come.
And the time will come. The time will come.
It's been a pretty fucking dry year. Sorry for swearing. It's been a really dry year.
They grew on my girlfriend's front lawn. I woke up one morning, we were washing her car, and in the afternoon, I'm like, there's mushrooms on your front yard. And she's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Take a photo. I go to take a photo. I'm like, these are psychedelic mushrooms. And they were. I picked them. I still got them. I still got them. They're next to Julian's one. The massive fucking What are they called? Starts with a C.
No, it doesn't.
Hunt mushroom. No, it is. It does. Doesn't it start with a C? The fucking.
The cordyceps gunnii.
Yeah, that's it. Cordyceps.
So the cordyceps gunnii, dead man's fingers. Don't talk about that one too much. That's a cool mushroom, though. Very cool mushroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's for another day, another time. That mushroom.
That's another day. That one, not psychedelic,
So
but
funny.
very fascinating.
Look at that.
A big screen, you see that? Hang tight, mate.
Well, let me chuck off the bloody green screen real quick.
Do you want to explain a little bit about the Suburginosa, like the hydrophanous cap, and like why it looks gold?
This is actually Gymnopilus purpuratus.
Holy fuck! What the? Sorry, I should stop swearing. There's gold on the bottom. No, yellow.
Yeah. So this is. You can actually see the bruising on it, the blue-purple bruising. It's actually a very mildly psychoactive Gymnopilus species. It's in section Delepiles or ludifolus. It's a pretty noble, i.e. not very researched, chemical in there called gymnopilicin, which is actually, it acts on your receptors, the same receptors act on
in
nicotine.
Western Australia?
Yeah, mate. Western Australia, South Australia, sorry, trying to get the missus out of the camera so she's not fucking getting doxxed.
Shout out to everyone's missus.
Rage Bill.
We dropped me dish of mushrooms.
No. You know what? I went to Woolworths the other day and there was this psilocybin blue chop bowl, or like it said a pasta bowl, right, on sale, $4. And I looked at every single bowl and they all looked different. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So I had to choose the one that I wanted. But yeah, the psilocybin blue chop bowl. It looked good.
Raw.
Like a real deep blue. Real nice blue.
Actually, I have some Alatutia in the shed too, Tassie.
You should go get it.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Oh, maybe next time. I'll fucking go out there.
Hey, real quick, bro. Do you reckon any of the tribes from Western Australia or mobs, whatever they were, do you think perhaps they would have used any Gymnopilus or maybe even bullets, the overconsumption of that, and had experiences?
I think, if anything, Gymnopilus species is probably the most likely for Western Australia, being that Suburginosa was only introduced so recently in the 70s to Western Australia. So I think Gymnopilus being that also depends where Gymnopilus came from. It could have been introduced on plantations. So
yeah, I think we need to start exploring the Torres Strait Islands as well. The islands surrounding Australia and whatnot.
I think the island nations definitely have a higher cultural use of psilocybin mushrooms, being that they have a lot more. You know, New Zealand being fucking, the epicenter for
Varroa species.
Well, yeah, the Varroa, sectoid species in general, they're all actually Suburginosa, but they're actually a case study in epigenetic mutations. So they've been there so long that they've mutated to that region, which is awesome. But it also it throws a lot of theories out. So for the longest time, we've thought psilocybin evolved as a bug deterrent, right? But then you see species like Psilocybe varroa that the only means of spore dispersal is to be predatorized by slugs and bugs and then be moved on with feces. So maybe psilocybin isn't the big bad enemy that we thought it was, and wood lover paralysis is. And that's what Kane Barlow and a couple other people are currently working on, that theory, which is super interesting stuff.
Do you think that could happen? Who's that? I want to know.
Kane Barlow is the lead mycologist for Sydney University. He actually lives in Tasmania.
Shout out to Tasmania. Would that happen to Tasmanian Suburginosa? Would it mutate because of the Tasmanian climate, like similar to the New Zealand
there's
climate?
probably there's epigenetic mutations everywhere. If you were to go, say, South Australia, and you go from the north to the south, you'll see mutation types in different locations, whether it be albinoids or whether it be like low spores that have different gill structures or have low lictin soil, so they have false annuluses. This is everywhere, anywhere that they can, kind of stay for a long time and have an unlimited food source for, they'll mutate. It's when you're constantly creating new patches that you can't keep that genetic alive.
That's interesting.
There you go.
That's fucking wild.
There's an old world genetic phenome in Ballarat, and it's beautiful. It's got like multiple false annuluses the whole way up its stipe. So a false annulus, instead of having, like a gill, like fragment, it has the stem will basically make that itself. So it has lumps, and this phenome has multiple lumps all the way up its stem, but they're like spiky lumps. And then it has very bell-shaped caps. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Instead of having fluctose stem, it has like a bumpy, ridgy stem, and that would be considered an old world phenome that's only found in Victoria. Wow. So I would imagine in some untouched places of Tasmania and even, local forests that have unlimited food sources that have their own phenomes.
Another good area worth checking, I reckon, as well.
Well, anywhere near the Gondwanan forest, I wouldn't even be looking at them for subs, because there's Zaptocorum, Papuana, so many different undescribed species in the Gondwanan forest range.
That we don't even know about. And these forests are expected to be over 300 million years old. The first
older than the Aboriginals, man.
Still stuck together.
Can you pull up a photo of what Caesar was talking about with those stipes? With the fucking, what was it called again?
I can get a photo for you, man.
Yeah, that'd be like, thank you very much. Because the thing is, like, when it comes down to like one mushroom, when you look at them, like how they structure, like the bell caps, I've seen bell cap form before, and they look really nice. Like the different mushrooms do look pretty cool. So I don't know.
I gotta find my phone, mate.
But like everyone's bell caps were different, because I've got bell caps that were like, they weren't too deep. Some of them were.
Yeah, the bell cap is not anything substantial. Is the stem shape. That's very interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I would need to find my phone, mate. I'll fucking. I don't know.
But like different subs look different. Their caps always look different. Like I found Suburginosa mushrooms that were like fucking huge, like the size of like.
There's some big ones out there with like.
But they had like the beach, right on the beach, right at the beach, like were they very pale? No, they were fucking like they were subs. They were I've got photos of them. They just look like normal subs. They were dark brown. They weren't pale at all.
Yeah,
they were fucking.
They were growing in like sand. They were fucking massive.
Yeah,
like sandy soil, but it was very rich in tree debris and wood and stuff like that. Degraded soil.
What there. Yeah.
But these things were like borderline albino. They had very low spore counts, massive, but they also had a massive gap in the like they had really unique gill structure. Beautiful things.
Mine dropped spores as well.
The key is they did drop spores, not many, but the key is if you come back every year and that same phenome is present, you can basically say, oh, this is probably an immortal line, meaning that it's been here for a long, long time. Yeah, it depends. Like if you're going to a city, right, that's never going to be the case. But if you're going to like an ancient forest and you're going deep in there, most of those, like in deep south here, most of those lines are immortalized. They'll always be there. There's just so much food, so like the perfect conditions. They'll never not be there, even during drought.
And you don't want that to get ruined.
Up fixed in a couple of weeks. We've got to get out to these forests either.
Oh, fucking bone dry now, bro.
Nah, even then they'll be easy to get through them. It's a rainforest.
Even then it'll be easy.
It's never bone dry in a rainforest, lad. Exposure is what gets you. You know what I mean?
Look, we'd probably be able to find a bag full, like if you're with me.
Well, I mean, even just to get out there and like go through that. landscape and fucking hell, imagine if you could have a starlight.
Fix your bloody rotors.
Fucking Starlink strapped to your back and you're able to like go through it on the street.
Yeah.
Catch a Bigfoot.
That'd be fucking good. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be scary though, Bigfoot. But yeah, I'm getting way off. But that mushroom you were talking about in Victoria, Cedar, name that for me again, bro.
Which one?
The one that you spoke about, the really rare one.
In Victoria.
Yeah,
where is it? Geelong, Ballarat, the old world Ballarat one.
That's just a subaeruginosa.
Right,
yeah.
just based.
Yeah, it's just like an old world like phenotype, meaning that it's been there for decades.
Long time.
You know,
what was the section of the mushroom though that looked good?
It was the stipes of the stem. The stem was it's incredible. I'll have to find photos and send them for you.
Photos from the groups. I forget what the groups are called, bro. Australian Pimp. Please identify my mushroom.
Oh. Yeah,
so I've got a question.
It's actually one of Michael's finds. If you know Michael very well.
No.
With the stem, what does that dictate? Because I've seen really thin stems before. I've seen really thick stems before. And what does that dictate? Like just genetics or soil
nutrients,
or amount of food?
Soil
nutrients. Well, then again, like some of the most nutritious spaces I know will have these little fucking tiny things that pop up out of nowhere, and they don't worth harvesting. But then next to them, there'll be like this big flush of these fucking monsters, and there'll be 50 of them. And then nearby, there'll just be these little babies, these little fucking baby subs, right? And they've dropped their spores. They're completely open. They're for the wallabies, 100%. You don't eat them. They're too fucking tiny, but they're subs, like 100% subs. Or they could be like some weird phenotype. But you know what I mean? So it's not real. Nutrition's one thing, but the false annulus, it could be a low lectin source. Lectins are super important nutrition. So that will sometimes impact the stem formation, make it really bumpy. But yeah, basically the stem doesn't mean fuck all besides genetics. Bigger stem generally means the bigger cap. So,
that's good to know.
Also, a lot of people don't eat stems, man, either, which is weird. Like the stems and the caps are both just as psychoactive as each
I would never be that guy to not eat the stems.
Than what the
what the stem. Julian, what you saying?
People have argued that. I go, I'd rather eat the cap than the stem. That's where the psilocybin is. And I'm like, oh gosh, you're very educated, are you?
Yeah.
It is the entire thing, and that's why you see when you press or you break apart the mushroom in the stipe or the stem, whatever you want to call it, it bruises blue. You have oxidization, which lets you know psilocybin's present.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's the only reason it stains blue is because of the oxidization, I think.
Yeah, oxidization of psilocin to psilocybin.
And that's one of the only reasons we're alive on this planet today is thanks to the the Great Oxidation Event, which occurred sometime a whole bunch of billion years ago, they reckon.
Great oxidation event.
That's why we have iron and whatnot formations in the ground that come like fucking rectangle shaped and whatnot. And they form these crystalline structures.
I love the name of the stream. You had some awesome stuff you wanted to talk about. Let's get
but we are 45 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to wrap this up because we are keeping these ones short anyway. Right. Thank you for cruising through. See you. Say goodbye, my bro. So let's have a
goodbye.
Next time on Beyond.
Yeah, give us a sneak peek of what we have to enjoy next time.
We'll be talking about some of the native plants. You don't want to. Go on, Jay, mate. Tell us.
About what?
You can keep
this whole fucking thing about native plants planned out. We didn't.
Next time we'll go into more plants in the Australian outback, not just psychedelics, but other plants as well. Because Australia is full of plenty of medicinal plants, and they're in abundance as well. You just have to know what you're looking for. Herbs, spices. You want some pepper? There's a native Tasmanian pepper tree that I've got. There's plenty of beautiful plants out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you rip a bong before you cruise. Drop a thumbs up. Go check out Tassie Terrence from Down Under. See that. Make sure you drop your links, fellas. Don't forget. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you all next time. Bong on.
Thanks for having me. Bong on, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like.
Hell yeah. Cheers, guys.
Peace.
Bong on, Julianne. Do-do-do-do-do.